What happens when you go all in and it doesn't work? Not it's delayed, not the lesson will reveal itself in 6 months, but genuinely, painfully, it didn't happen. And there's no backup plan, no plan B quietly warming up on the bench. Just you, the rubble of expectation, and the silence that feels louder than failure. What do you do then? Let's talk about it. Welcome to the Catalyst Podcast. I'm your host, Jason. You know where we are on all of your favorite platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, TikTok. You can listen to our episodes on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and our home at Podbean. We love Podbean. We want to hear from you folks. If you're interested in becoming a guest or contributing, or just reach out, let us know. Email us at catalystmotivationpodcast@gmail.com. That's catalystmotivationpodcast@gmail.com. Join the Catalyst community today. Be part of something truly transformative. All right. Welcome to episode 126. All in, no exit. Whew. Okay, here we go. Let's get honest about this, because if you've lived long enough, you've loved hard enough, or you've bet on yourself even once, you know this. You know the job you rearranged your life for that fell through. The relationship you built your future around that suddenly ended. The business, the book, the dream you poured yourself into only to hear the universe say no. And then suddenly, the advice people love to give feels thin. Everything happens for a reason. Just pivot. Have a backup plan next time, idiot. Great. Helpful, truly. But none of that answers the real question. Who are you when the thing you committed your whole identity to doesn't happen? The backup plan. We love backup plans because they feel like safety, but be honest. Most of the meaningful things in life don't come with one. You don't half love something just in case. You don't half believe in calling. You don't step into courage with a toe. The research backs this up. A study published in Psychology Science found that people who fully commit to the chosen path report higher long-term satisfaction than those who constantly hedge their bets. Commitment creates meaning. But here's the catch that no one talks about. Commitment also magnifies loss. When you go all in, you're not just risking an outcome. You're risking your self-concept. That's what when you fail, it doesn't just hurt. It unravels you. Seneca warned us about this almost 2,000 years ago. He wrote, "He suffers more than necessary who suffers before is necessary." We don't just grieve what didn't happen. We grieve the future we rehearsed in our mind. There's a specific kind of panic that comes after an all-in failure. It sounds like, if this didn't work, what does that say about me? Did I misread everything? Was I foolish or brave? And my personal favorite at 3 a.m., what now? Here's something oddly comforting. Neurology makes sense of this. When a major plan collapses, the brain experiences its similarity to physical pain. MRI studies show rejection, loss, and failure activate the same neural pathways as injury. Your nervous system is not being dramatic. It's responding to perceived threat to survive. So if you ever thought, why am I reacting so strongly? It's because your brain says, the map is gone. We're exposed. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. That sounds calm, almost annoyingly calm. But what it really says is this: suffering comes from the story we tell ourselves about what this failure means. Here's where things get dangerous. We don't just say, that didn't work. You say, I didn't work. I've said that. We fuse identity with outcome. I'm successful because it worked. I'm worthy because they stayed. I'm called because it happened. And when it doesn't, the mind jumps to erasure. Epictetus warned us against this trap. He said, don't seek for events to happen as you wish, but wish for them to happen as they do. And your life will go smoothly. Probably smoother than my reading of that. Not because it's easy, but because reality doesn't negotiate with attachment. Here's an example. I once spoke with someone who left a stable career to pursue a deeply personal dream. No safety net, no fallback, years of effort, money, identity poured into it, and then nothing. No breakthrough, no payoff, just exhaustion. They told me the failure wasn't the worst part. The worst part was waking up and not knowing who I was without it. That's the moment Stoicism was designed for. Stoicism doesn't say, don't care. It says, care wisely. The Stoics made a sharp distinction between what is up to us and what is not. Effort, up to us. Integrity, up to us. Preparation, values, persistence, up to us. Outcomes, not fully. Seneca put it bluntly by saying, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Notice what's missing. Guarantees. Going all in doesn't mean controlling the results. It means choosing to show up fully without the illusion of control. And that's where modern culture gets it wrong. We preach hustle and manifestation, and if you want it badly enough, but the data tells a more honest story. According to the Small Business Administration, about 50% of businesses fail within 5 years. That doesn't mean 50% of founders were lazy or unworthy. It means the outcomes are influenced by variables no one person commands. So when it doesn't happen, the question isn't, what did I do wrong? It's often, what did I give that was still worth giving? Real quick, if this is resonating with you, please like and subscribe and share it with someone who may need it right now. I want to thank you so much for all of you guys who listen from all over the world. We appreciate you. Okay, let's get back into it. Let's lighten it up for a moment. You know the phrase where suddenly everybody becomes a philosopher. You know, your aunt sends you an inspirational quote at 6 a.m. Your friend says, maybe this is a redirection while eating nachos, and LinkedIn post about resilience somehow feels personal. There's something humbling about realizing the universe did not consult your vision board. And yet, humor creates space. Humor reminds us that we're not the center of the cosmos. And knowing that, pretty freeing. Marcus Aurelius reminds himself daily that he was just small in the grand scheme of things. Not to diminish himself, but to, relieve the pressure of being everything. Here's the paradox. When there's no backup plan, you're forced into something more fundamental than strategy. You're forced into character. Without a plan B, you return to questions like, what do I even stand for now? What kind of person do I want to be in this uncertainty? What values survive disappointment? Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you will be, and then do what you have to do. Not what you would achieve, who you would be. Because identities based on character are resilient. Identities based on outcomes are brittle. Now, let me be clear. This is not about pretending loss doesn't hurt. I mean, grief deserves respect, but there's a reframe that matters, right? Instead of asking, why didn't it happen? Ask, what part of me showed up fully here? Courage, commitment, hope, work ethic, love. Those are transferable assets. Research on post-traumatic growth shows that people who consciously reflect on how hardship revealed inner strength report higher resilience and life satisfaction long term. Not because they won, but because they recognize themselves in the wreckage. Now, let's close with something practical. Here's a simple but powerful exercise that you can do this week. It's called a 2-column reset. All right? Take a piece of paper. Old school matters. Okay? Let's do it. Get that paper. I'll wait. Okay, there we go. Here's what we want you to do. On the left column, you're going to write what I lost. Be honest. Name the outcome, the dream, the role, the future you imagined. All right? On the right column, write what remains under my control. List qualities, actions, and values that still belong to you. Your integrity, your effort today, your ability to choose your next right step. Then ask yourself one final question. What would acting with excellence look like right now, even in uncertainty? Not grand, not perfect, just honest. Marcus Aurelius wrote, waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one, even here, especially here. I love that quote. If you're in a space where you went all in and it didn't happen, folks, you're not broken. You're human. You're brave. And you're standing in the moment the Stoics understood deeply. The absence of a backup plan doesn't mean the end. Sometimes it's the beginning of a sturdier identity. One not built on outcomes, but on who you choose to be when the outcomes fall away. Sit with that this week. Sit with that this week. And remember this. The story doesn't end. It just stops following the outline you wrote. Okay, that's it for today. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need it. Like and subscribe to our podcast for even more motivational content. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok for even more inspiration. And if you're interested, I have a book out. Yes, I do. It's called The Ways of Compromise. You can find it on Amazon, on Kindle. It's an ebook and it's a paperback. Inspired by real life scenario and situation. If we look at the world today and we see polar opposites and neither cross, and there's anger and resentment and hate, but why? Why is it? There was a point in time where we could meet in the middle and come together, and those times have disappeared, and we need to come back to them. And that's what this book is about. It talks about, how we get back to the middle, how we can agree to disagree. It's not about giving up. It's about sharing. Again, go grab the book. It's, like I said, Amazon and Kindle. There's going to be a link in the description. I would really appreciate it if you grab one. Grab one for a friend, a family member, as many as you can. All right. So thank you all so much for joining us for episode 126 of the Catalyst Motivation Podcast. We look forward to seeing you again next time for episode 127. Go be great.